Hello everyone, this is Simply Syrup coming to you with some great info on a brand new game for the channel, Terra Invicta, our newest and soon to be the channel's favorite grand strategy game. I've got a video planned out today that is jam-packed with information that every Terra Invicta player absolutely needs to know. It doesn't matter if you're brand new to the game or if you played the beta or spent the last few months studying astrophysics to prepare for the game release, I believe you need to watch this video, and in this video we will be going over exactly 5 tips to change your Invicta experience for the better. Before we get into the content, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to the new viewers for giving my channel a try and encourage you all to consider dropping a like and subscribing if you enjoy the content and want to see more. I've got thousands of videos ideas for Terra Invicta, but I need your support to bring them to life. So thanks so much again, but before I take up any more of your time, let's get into the content. So to start, this video isn't about telling you what to do, and yes, there is a correct way to play Terra Invicta, but those videos will come a little later, like tomorrow. This video is about changing how you think and changing the way you see the game. What every strategy game boils down to is just a bunch of numbers hidden behind a fancy UI. While Terra involves a whole lot of numbers, once we understand them, we can take these numbers and manipulate them to our own advantage. And that's what you're doing in every game essentially, finding ways to manipulate the game to our own advantage until we find enough manipulations to win the game. We're going to deep dive into those manipulations right here on this channel, but first we need to set the dinner table to eat, which brings us to the first tip of today's video. Tip number 1. Look at the bigger picture. This is a grand strategy game, and a grand strategy is what you will need to be a successful player. Before you jump into a game like this, you really need to have an idea of where you want to end up before you take your first steps, or else you may be moving in the wrong direction entirely. Think about the things you want to see happen before even considering clicking the new game button. Start with things that you do know, like what areas of the world you want to take control of early. Are you trying to have a playthrough based around a superpower like the US or China, or how about a European Union playthrough? Do you want to be the first in space or dominate Earth? Things like this need to be considered before starting a new game. The more time you spend planning, the better your playthrough will be, because once you can see the final goal, the decisions to get there become so much more clear. So try to look at the big picture when playing Invicta. Instead of mission sequence to mission sequence, it'll make a world of difference as you try to conquer the world. For our next tip today, we are going to get a little less theoretical and a little more actionable. Specialization is a major key to success. I know this may be hard to hear, but not every country you take control of will be able to carry you to the end game, and not every country needs to have money dumped into the military or space budget. Some countries simply need to be burned for their resources and dumped, which is a hard pill to swallow, but we're fighting an alien invasion as the world implodes, so some sacrifices have to be made. I would argue that the more specific you are when assigning countries goals, the better you will perform. For instance, if you are playing a Canada/US centered playthrough, then why waste resources developing Canada's military when you already have the strongest military in the game at your disposal? Why not instead specialize Canada as your space force and leave the US to fight your intra-worldly battles? It just doesn't make sense to try to make every country under your control the best at everything. Try to align the countries under your control with what they are good at. Specialize, specialize, specialize. Moving on to tip number 3, your counselors are the most important resource. More than money, influence, or gold, your counselors are undoubtedly the most important resource in Terra Invicta. Due to this, you should spend a lot of time trying to get the best counselors leading your faction. We are not going to go over exactly what makes a good counselor in this video because we simply don't have the time. But check back in tomorrow for a new video expanding on this very topic. And spoiler here, there is no single trait or skill level that makes a counselor a lock for your faction. Instead, it's about the synergy they bring to your team, but we will be going over this later. For now, just remember that the counselors are the lifeblood of your whole game, and if you want to have a successful playthrough, you better know your counselors like the back of your hand. Our 4th tip today is going to move back into the general opposed to the specific, and is tentatively titled Know Your Allies. What I want you to take away from this tip is to get along with the factions that you should be getting along with. It will make your game so much easier. For instance, if you join the Humanity First faction, then you should know right off the bat that the servants will be your enemy in this playthrough. Additionally, you should know that the resistance has common goals and it may be counterintuitive to see them as a threat. Now this tip will only take you so far, because in the end it's your faction that needs to come out on top. But especially in the early game, I wouldn't advise that you see every faction as an enemy, and would even suggest building relations with those that are closely aligned to your own views. For our final tip today, I wanted to encourage you to grab aggregates early. This tip will hold true for both in space and on Earth. Try to take big chunks of what you need early. Start with the basics and move on from there. You know you will need money, so grab an interest in a place with a large chunk of the GDP. You know you will need research, so grab a chunk of that too. Whatever you feel like you need to take control of, take a large aggregate right off the bat. This tip holds true for space too, and a pro tip here, grab water first. Water is extremely heavy and hard to transport off planet, so save some resources and grab a chunk of water early. As promised, there are 5 tips to Terra Invicta. I really hope you enjoyed and were able to take some actionable information away to use in your own playthrough. For those of you who have made it this far in the video, I wanted to give a big thank you for supporting the channel, and I really hope you consider subscribing so we can grow together. I have so much great information to share with you that I'm working really hard on, and I hope to see you there when it's released. I promise that if you choose to stick around on my channel that you will become a better Terra Invicta player, and I know these tips were pretty generalized, but in our next couple of videos, we are really going to get into the mechanics of the game, and our hardcore gamers will get their fill that they may not have gotten from this video. As always, feel free to check the video description for a link to my Twitch channel where we are playing the newest and best games like Terra Invicta almost daily. Thank you so much for your time today. I had a blast making this video, and I hope to see you again soon. Until next time, this is Simply Syrup signing off.